everybody. We are going to wrap up talking about line and shape today by creating a picture called Circles to Flowers. Now, there are 3 different ways you can do this project, and I will show you all 3 ways. Whichever way you decide to work is fine. The one thing I really want to recommend, and I really want to encourage you, keep sending me those pictures and those videos. I miss all of you, and I really love to see the videos that you are making for me when you submit your artwork. Thank you for that. And let's get started. I think this is going to be a really fun project. And like I said, there are 3 different ways you can do this project, and whichever way you decide is up to you. All right, so I'm getting my supplies together, and the first thing I need my base, okay? And so that's just this white piece of paper. Now, if you want to use a piece of construction paper, you can do that. If there's another piece of paper that you want to use, plain white copy paper also works for this project. The next thing you need is a glue stick, and then some crayons. I just grabbed these crayons from my supply office, and now I'm good to go. Now, this is the first way to do this project. Take another piece of paper. This is just a scrap piece of paper that I had lying around, and I'm going to take my crayon and I'm going to draw a circle. If you need to, you can use a template. If you have a lid of a jar or a Tupperware container or something, you can use that to draw your circle. I've had lots of practice, which is why I can draw these circles pretty well. They're not perfect, but they're good. And then I'm just quickly coloring this. Now, I'm being kind of messy when I'm coloring, and that's because now that I have it colored, I'm actually going to cut it out. And look, when I am cutting out a circle, I'm turning the paper. I'm not turning my scissors. I'm turning the paper, and when I get a circle that I like, I am going to trim this one a little bit. Circles are actually really easy to cut out. You just have to keep turning the paper. It's kind of lopsided, but it's a good example. All right, so now I'm going to get another piece of paper, and this paper is smaller because I'm going to color this a different color. I'm still going to make my circle, and I'm going to color it in pretty quickly, just like I did the other one. And again, I'm being a little bit messy, but that's because I'm going to cut out I'm going to cut out the messy part. I don't know, is that what I'm trying to say here? I'm going to cut off all the scribbles. That's what I'm trying to say. Then I'm going to take my smaller circle and I'm going to glue it on top of my bigger circle. If I can get my glue stick open, there we go. All right, now if you want to keep adding circles to that, let me cut out another one. This one's not colored, this one's just going to be white, but I could cut out one more circle to put on top of it to be the middle. And there is the first part of my flower. Okay, now remember I said you could do this a couple of different ways. And remember, I'm going kind of fast, so if you need to pause, you can do that. But the next thing is I do not have construction paper with me in this room that I'm working in, but I do have some scrapbook paper. And so I've got 3 different patterns. So I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to pick one more. I'm going to pick this one. Now these are all blues, so they kind of go together, right? So I'm going to use this one for my biggest circle. And again, I'm cutting these out. I'm just turning my paper. I started on one end of my paper, instead of cutting in the middle. That way I can use the rest of this for another one if I want to make it that way. And then for the second one, I'm going to use this color, and I need to make it smaller. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead and trace this, because that's going to help me know how big my first circle is. You can't see it very well, but I can see it here. And now I can make sure that I'm cutting on the inside of that line, because I want this circle to be smaller. And actually, I'm going to even make it a little bit smaller than that. And that first one kind of turned out like an oval, which is fine. I'm going to make this one more of a circle. Again, it's kind of lopsided. I got some lopsided circles here. Anyway, okay, so you can kind of get the idea. All right, so I've got my two circles, and now I'm just going to make a little tiny one for the middle of my flower. I'm not going to make it very big at all. Matter of fact, I could have just picked one main star to go in the middle, and there it is. Now, here's the interesting thing about art. I don't know that I like that very much. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab a plain piece of, I have some green paper here. So I'm going to grab some green paper, and I actually like those two, but I want something to break it up a little bit. So I'm going to trace this one, and I'm going to cut out this green circle and see if I like that any better. Okay, now I can see my pencil line right there a little bit. So instead, can you see it? Right there. So instead of wasting time erasing it, I'm just going to turn it over. And I'm going to put that on top and put that on top of that. That's kind of interesting. I like that. So now I'm going to glue it all down. And there's another tip. Don't glue anything until you're absolutely sure that's the way you want it to be. Alrighty. And all right, so now I have two flowers. Boy, evidently I really like the color blue, because I used blue both times there, didn't I? There's my two flowers. All right, now the next thing, the third way you can do it is probably going to be, for some of you, you are going to be very happy, and this is going to be the easiest way. Maybe you're not real great with scissors yet, and that's okay. Part of the reason why we do art is to practice using our scissors. All right, so if you are not good with scissors yet, and but you still really want to do this project, this is how you do it. This time I'm going to start with yellow, and I'm going to draw a small circle, okay? I'm going to draw a small circle. All right, you can see that one. Around that one, I'm going to draw another circle, and I know that you can make really pretty flowers with all of their pretty petals, and we are going to do that, but not yet, okay? Hold on, not yet. So now I'm going the opposite way. With this one, I started with my biggest circle and went to the smaller one. And with this one, we're starting with the smaller circle and going to the bigger one. Now here I have to be careful. Here I don't want to scribble because I'm not cutting these out. There we go. All right, so there. And now let's see, you know what? I'm going to use a red, and I'm going to draw one more circle around my circles. And again, I got to be careful. I can't scribble on this one. I got to slow down and take my time and color that in. All right, so this is the shape. This is the shape part of our project because we're making circles. And the line part of our project comes next. So I actually went and got a bigger piece of paper and I cut out my flower from my first picture that I started, and then I glued down the other flower that I made. I'm not going to use this one because I just don't have the room. So I'm just going to stick with 2 flowers. So here's where the line part comes. Using your flowers, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to use lines to make your flowers look like flowers instead of just circles. So I know that so many of you know how to draw a flower. So if we just add petals to the outside of our flower like this, we can really make it look more like a flower. And maybe we want to make it fancy. You can add whatever you like to your flower to make it look more like a flower. And then don't forget to go ahead and add your stem. Stems aren't always perfectly straight. If you want to add the ground, you can do that as well. And let's see, for this one, I'm gonna add the stem first. Don't forget to add a leaf or 2. Different flowers, different leaves. And let's see, for this one, maybe I'm gonna make it look more like a sunflower. Maybe this one will have extra petals behind it. You can be as creative as you want, but this is where your lines come in. So use your crayon or marker, Sharpie if you're allowed to use a Sharpie. It's up to you. Whatever you are allowed to use, that's what you should use to make your flowers. And then, of course, don't forget, color them in. You can leave them black and white if you want. Otherwise, feel free to color them whatever color you like. All right. I am going to go ahead and color these, and in a couple of seconds, using the magic of our video, you will see what it looks like when I'm finished. And here it is, friends. Here is my finished picture. Now remember, if you're coloring the sky, remember that the sky and the ground are best friends. They always have to stick together. They always have to touch because they are best friends. So make sure that you color, if you're going to color the background, make sure you color the sky all the way down to the grass. And that your grass comes all the way up to the sky, depending on how big you made that little spot in your picture. All right, don't forget, keep sending me those videos and those pictures of your finished artwork. I love seeing what you've done. If you have any problems or questions, make sure you send me a video or an email message asking me for help, and I will help you get back on the right track. Okay, friends, thank you. This was a fun project for me. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.